So we're coming up on the 3-year anniversary of my videography business, Thorndike Productions, getting registered as an LLC in the state of New Hampshire. Since then, I have filmed multiple weddings with clear evidence of my skills of running gun filmmaking improving with every wedding, and I've been able to work on multiple films with various filmmakers throughout New England while building a reputation as a skilled and reliable production sound mixer. And I was able to shoot a music video with plans to offer it as a service on my website, thorndikeproductions.com. Link will be in the description. Plus, I'm going to be working on some major projects in the coming months in both of terms of this YouTube channel, but also as a filmmaker. But it hasn't always been a steady walk uphill, and I'm willing to explain what I mean while I list out the 6 things I would have done differently if I were to start a videography business all over again. And these are things I'm going to be trying to do if and when I decide to start another business in addition to this videography one. We have a lot to go over, so you might want to get comfortable for this one. So the first thing I would have done differently would have to do more with prep before actually going through with registering and promoting my services for wedding videography. Here's what I mean. At the time of registering the LLC, I only had one camera, the Canon T3i. Don't get me wrong, it's a solid starter camera, and I've already seen a feature film that was shot on it that was actually really well done.
Get to bed.
No.
Get to bed!
By the way, that film the clip is from, Ice Patrol, it's available to watch on Tubi, so if you want to see it for yourself, link in the description. Anyways, what I'm getting at is this. Every wedding I've done up to this point, I have had to rent a good amount of equipment for it, mainly cameras and lenses. And for the wedding that I have recently shot and currently editing by the time this video goes public, that is going to be the same case as well, since I ended up learning from the first wedding that having only 2 cameras for that wasn't enough. Having 3 or 4 cameras, depending on the size of the venue, ready with a good number of lenses as well for various shooting situations would have been more ideal. But at least I have the lighting, audio, and camera rig side of it squared away. Mostly. I really need to get some wireless audio transmitters for the lav mics. Either way, having to rent the necessary equipment all the time really did take a good chunk out of what I made once everything was said and done. So, yeah. Second thing I would have done differently had to do with the day jobs I was working at the time. Yes, jobs. Plural. Actually, I'm not sure if you'd call one of them a day job since it was overnight. Yeah, during the day I would be washing dishes and doing some prep cook kitchen stuff, and at night I would be washing floors at a supermarket. Working 2 jobs that had such a polarizing time frames really made things difficult when it came to not only getting back to potential clients, but also difficulty to actually function regardless of the time of day it was. Especially on those days where I had to go from getting out of the supermarket job at 6 a.m., try to get 2.5 hours of sleep at most at my mom's apartment, then go to the dishwashing job at 9 a.m. and getting out mid-afternoon. Quite honestly, working both of those jobs was just a collection of terrible mistakes. I won't go into all the details since that isn't what this video is about, but I'll give you the reasons for each of the jobs why I ended up walking away from both of them. 1. The hours at the restaurant job were so inconsistent that when I was scheduled for a 10-hour work week, my response was, give those hours to someone else. And 2, for the overnight supermarket job, I had to wash the floors. I can sum up my experience with that in 3 words. Constant equipment malfunctions. The third thing I would have done differently is actually related to the first point, and it's finding a better way to acquire all the necessary equipment and resources I would need for business without needing to rent anything to have the bare minimum. I ended up applying for a credit card, and since the only thing I had in terms of credit at the time was from making payments for my car loan, I was able to get about enough credit for a Sony a6400 and not much else. Honestly, that was a bad move. I should have tried bigger. Persuading multiple family members, relatives, and some of my peers into potentially investing into my business in exchange for a cut of what I make through it till I pay back what they lent me with interest. Although it might have helped to an extent, the key word is might, as it's clearly a major risk reward. It would also possibly be the case if I were to go to a credit union to apply for a personal loan, with, of course, the credit union deciding interest rate based on credit score, as well as having a limit to a number of months you have to pay it all back. So if I did go through with that, I still would have had to work day jobs like I do now, but it would have been paying off a personal loan, a car loan, and paying back said investors every time I got paid for a gig. Not a car loan and struggling to afford to purchase what I still need for my business without resorting to a payment plan from an online retailer. But at least now I'm doing work as a contractor, flexibility in my work schedule, able to pick up more gigs. So I at least have that going for me. The fourth thing I would have done differently, get a website up sooner than I did. Yeah, I waited until the end of 2019 to purchase my website domain and get a web hosting service and begin figuring out how to actually use WordPress. I ended up going with WordPress.com, which honestly, the price of the plan I paid so I get to use plugins on the site was a bit too much, and quite honestly, I'm looking at switching over to Bluehost and paying for 36 months at once instead of just annually like I currently am. Meaning there is a very real chance I will have to build the site from scratch, and when the time comes, I'll let you know how it goes. Yay! Thing number 5, better understanding SEO and working on being able to offer additional services from the get-go. What I mean is simply this. Well, at the time of recording this video, I'm only offering wedding videography and production sound mixing with intent on setting up a page for music videos after switching from which web hosting site I use. I kind of found myself in a situation where I wasn't really showing my versatility as a filmmaker, even though filming and editing wedding videos call for knowing how to do every aspect of the process and how to do them well, even if you're able to bring on a second camera operator. Quite frankly, I should have gone on to the local filmmaking Facebook groups and have been willing to volunteer on some different productions in a couple of different roles, prove my worth, and then start charging once I had enough material for a solid reel in each prospective role, as well as setting things up for having better search engine optimization when it comes to promoting my services on social media. But there was a reason I didn't, or I guess couldn't. And that brings us into thing number 6. Combating social anxiety a lot harder. You think this wouldn't be the case since you're talking with people over email, personal messages, commenting on a post. Plus you're talking business, so it's not exactly like you're trying to ask someone out on a date, but it still can make things difficult to try and even post on those groups out of concern that you might have phrased something incorrectly, you might come off as spammy, or it just falls on deaf ears. I've regularly had to combat this feeling like I didn't have a voice after being treated as such for so many years and barely having a chance for those mental scars to heal before I ended up getting treated like that again. It's only been because of the people I've worked with on film sets, the couples that have hired me to film their weddings, my therapist, and the people that I have met and became friends with from going out to dance or doing karaoke. They have made me feel like I actually have a voice. Well, I still have a long road ahead of me in terms of getting these mental scars healed, becoming more confident with who I am as a person, who I want to be as a person, and continuing to do more and more to turn my filmmaking passion into a career. I won't give up. But before I end this video, I would like to say one more thing. I know everyone's financial situation is different, and for a lot of people, it is easier said than done to get something like this going, let alone make it successful. But as long as you're willing to try, it doesn't matter how long of a break you need so you don't burn out. As long as you try and continue to try, you do want it bad enough. But always remember, your physical and mental health take top priority over everything else. So please, while you are working on making your goals a reality, take care of yourself. Because you matter. You matter.